Hey, welcome to another edition of Local Focus. I'm your host, Sebastian Noel. You know, we're in the middle of basketball season, and we're hitting basketball pretty hard. Go to proviewNetworks.com, check out our schedule there. Of course, get your NFHS network pass. But you know, one thing Danny Gonzalez has done to this town is kind of people actually care about football a little bit right now at the moment. You know, it's that kind of thing that's happening. So when I had an opportunity to have a football guest this week, I jumped at it. But not just any guest, from out of town. Ruidoso quarterback Gage Guardiola is my guest. First of all, thank you for making the long trip,
Sure,
and we'll get to the reasoning behind that as well. I know you got some exciting stuff going on, but let's tell us a little bit about your background. I know you have a interesting story with your dad and everything, but tell us about that.
Well, was born and raised in Ruidoso, but for my first years of high school, I moved to Mayfield. My dad's a heavy civil contractor, and he had worked on the bases. It was White Sands Missile Range. He works there, so it was easier for him to go back and forth. So we had to move up there. And make
But you skipped the part where your dad was quarterback at UNM.
Oh yeah, well, yeah.
That's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, he was the quarterback at UNM from like '92 to '96.
So tell me about that. I mean,
Yeah, he was originally committed to Minnesota. Then the day before signing day, he flipped his commitment to UNM. Just wanted to stay home. They got a new coaching staff when like that signing day period, kind of like now Danny Gonzalez. It's kind of like what was going on with him. So they recruited all the best players in New Mexico, and he was the quarterback they wanted. So that's where he went.
so you grew up in a Lobo household then, right? Lobo fan, I'm assuming? Or
Yeah, I always
was there
watched
some-
the Lobos, but I feel like my dad's just a college football fan, kind of just
All right.
was just watching football.
Did you have any early Lobo memories there with your dad at quarterback?
Well, he never got like too much playing time, but he would always he took me to a lot of games. We went and watched TCU when they played TCU.
Right.
We always went to New Mexico State, UNM, New Mexico State, but it wasn't nothing he ever like kind of like try to brag on to me. Like,
But did you have the gear, like when you're little Gage, this tall, like were you running around with all the gear and stuff?
Yeah, he
Okay.
he gave me he has a couple footballs left from when he was at UNM, and he always gave me Lobo football, Lobo jerseys, stuff like that.
So when did your love of football start? At a very young age then?
Yeah, I always started pretty young. My dad would always watch college football on Saturdays ever since I was like 5 or 6, trying to teach me how to throw, watching on the couch with him. So it's always been started ever since I was pretty young, wanting to play football.
Now, obviously that comes with some bragging rights at school. So are you going to school telling kids, hey, Pops is at UNM, man, quarterback?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there had to be some of that, right?
Yeah, everyone kind of knew that my dad played in college because like usually everyone kind of stays in Ruidoso, so everyone knew my dad was a pretty good football player. And they'd be like, "Oh, your dad actually played for the Lobos." And
Right.
yeah, it's pretty cool. And a lot of people always come up to me like, when I moved back to Ruidoso, like, "Oh, are you gonna be better than your dad?"
Small town blues, huh?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. So more of your childhood now. I mean, you talk about the development or the love of football started pretty young, right?
Mhm.
So when did you start playing competitively?
Second grade.
Okay.
I was like 8.
So do they have the, do they have the Yaffle teams in Ruidoso?
I don't really know. It is Little League.
Right.
It was tackle football. It's tackle football. It's not tackle football there anymore. It's flag. But when I was little, it was tackle football. I started out playing safety and then receiver. And then as soon as I kind of I got older because I wasn't the biggest one because I was the youngest one at first. And then as I got older, I got to play quarterback, and that was when my dad became my coach. So
Now, were you a football only guy your whole life, or did you do the other sports as well?
I've always been mainly football and baseball.
Okay, so tell us about that baseball. Where did that come from?
Just wanted to play. It got kind of more serious for me when I was in 5th grade. I made the All-Star team, and then the tournament was in Alamogordo, and then I got picked up by a team in Alamogordo to play baseball. And played baseball year round until I moved to Las Cruces. But it's been pretty. I love baseball. I love football. Just always wanted to do two things.
So, there's always a lot of this talk about specialization, right?
Mm.
And kids playing one sport year round. And coaches are always pretty against it. They like kids to play multiple sports. So where would you fall on that? I mean, are you glad that you stayed diversified and played the two sports?
Oh yeah, I love switching sports. I love like the looking forward to the next season. I always enjoyed it. I would never want to specialize in one sport because I think I might probably get burnt out of it. Because I got burnt out playing baseball year round and just playing football like for a thing like for like fall. So I'm kind of glad to get to like switch off
Right.
back off.
How does one complement the other? In your instance, how does baseball complement football, and how does football complement baseball?
I think I don't know. It's kind of hard. I think like the mental aspect of baseball complements football because baseball it's a very like mental game. A lot of strategy has to go into it. It's like football, and football has a lot of strategy as well. And then football complementing baseball. I think it goes back and forth. Is the mental aspect.
Right. Right. All right, we're going to take our first time out. Come back with more after this.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have every
Huge savings on all jacuzzi and Cal Spas hot tubs and swim spas at Dream Style Remodeling, 1460 Renaissance Boulevard. Enjoy family fun for years to come with your new hot tub or swim spa. Get 20% off select hot tubs and 30% off swim spas. We offer easy financing and free delivery and setup. You can rely on Dream Style Remodeling for complete professional installation. Stop by Dream Style Remodeling today, 1460 Renaissance Boulevard across from Sam's Club. Hurry, sale ends soon.
Are you sure we're supposed to be doing this?
Don't worry, I've watched him do it 1,000 times. Come on, what's the worst that can happen?
No! Bad dog!
Hi, welcome to Car Crafters. What happened? Don't worry, we'll make it like it never happened.
Car Crafters, it's like it never happened.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
Get into the game with Garden Swartz Team Sales. They have everything you need from screen printing, embroidery, and digital printing services, high school letterman jackets, and all high school and club uniforms and individual and team apparel with the most reliable brands like Speedline, Rollins, and Wilson. And don't forget to check out the latest F7 Shut helmet. It's all at Garden Swartz Team Sales. Give them a call, 505-884-1234. Garden Swartz Team Sales.
Local Union 412. Find a career with benefits and not just a job at UA Local 412 Training Center. We are looking for plumbers, pipe fitters, welders, and HVAC tech apprentices and journeymen. Call 505-256-9257. Local Union 412.
Back with Gage Guardiola of the Rio Doso Warriors, quarterback. We were kind of talking about your athletic background, and then you get to Mayfield, obviously. And first of all, talk about that. What brought you there, and then the football. How did it start? I mean, freshman, you walk into Mayfield, you think, oh, I'm going to make varsity. What's your mind at? But first, the move to Mayfield. Tell us about that.
Yeah, my dad's a contractor, works like at Holloman and White Sands Missile Range. So, and when we were living in Redondo, he was having to drive back and forth a lot. So, it was just easier for all of us, and like more opportunities for the entire family. Just moved it down there, and for my dad to set up, like has his own business, so it was just better for him, better opportunity for us and our family.
Right. So you get there as a freshman, you get to campus, right? What's going through your mind there? Tryouts, take us through that.
Well, my dad wanted to make the best decision of like what high school I was going to go to, so we went and visited Mayfield like that spring, and they kind of said like there's the freshman team, JV, and varsity, and only like bumping kids up, and they had Torrey Laughlin, who was Division I prospect then,
Right.
so I wasn't like going in thinking I was going to play varsity, but I wanted to like maybe get to travel with varsity and get moved up to JV, but they said that would kind of be unlikely. But as soon as I got there, like the first couple practices of the freshman team, they moved me up to JV, and so.
So let me stop you there. Any intimidation at first? You know, you're in the big school with more kids,
Yeah.
more athletes, obviously a bigger football program. You know, were there trying times? There had to be some trying times at the beginning, right?
Yeah, I was pretty like my middle school. I think there was like maybe like 200, 300 people in my school, and then
Right.
I went to Mayfield, and it was like 1,500 kids.
Right.
So it was pretty different, like going to class and everything. But I wasn't like intimidated. I was kind of just nervous, but I was pretty excited. I mean, it was new beginning for me and my entire family.
So you know, you're ball boy at Ruidoso, right? Since you were like this tall,
Yeah, yes, sir.
right? So king of the mountain in your hometown. Now you're somewhere else. I mean, how does that fuel you?
It was different. Like I grew up with everyone ever since I was little. I didn't want to leave. It was like really hard, but it was just like different because I dreamt growing up. I was like, oh, I'm gonna be the quarterback for the Warriors someday. Because watched Cade Patterson, Parker Johnson. I was like, I'm gonna be those guys, but kind of felt like it was snatched away from me. But I was also excited for the opportunities to go like where Kavika Johnson played and Isaac Vance where he was at currently. I was like, it's a pretty cool opportunity for me.
So take us through your freshman year there at Mayfield.
Yeah, so I got moved up to JV. We lost one game to Coronado, but it went pretty well. I lettered, got to play in the Volcano Vista playoff game. Got to play in a couple games. We were supposed to be a lot better that year than how it ended, but it was pretty cool. Like getting to play behind like Gavin Swinson and Isaac Vance and Torrey Laughlin. That was something I'll never forget. Just getting to watch those guys compete and see how they worked every day. But I got to travel to every game. I was the second string quarterback, and so it was pretty awesome.
So at that point in your career, early on, I mean, how are guys like that you mentioned? How are they getting you better? Because obviously the names that have gone through there, it's pretty impressive at Mayfield. So how are those kids making you better at that point?
Gavin Swinson, it was just like I got to throw to him a lot, like going around the side because he didn't play defense. So when it was like defensive practice, on my side, I got to throw the balls to him and had to adjust to his speed, how fast he was. And then Isaac Vance, he was a great leader. He's a great person. I mean, I'm so grateful I got to become such great friends with him because he taught me so much, just so much more than football, like faith and family. And so I was really grateful for that. And Torrey, he didn't talk very much, but he worked really hard in the weight room, in the classroom, never got in trouble. So that's kind of what I took from each one of those guys.
Right. Do you remember specific advice that some of those guys gave you early on that you can share with us?
Well, Isaac just told me never be afraid to be vocal, but Torrey always just told me to kind of just learn everything, try to just study as much as I could, learn the playbook because everyone will respect me if I knew the playbook, knew what was going on. Gavin just told me to be calm, just have fun, but there's so many things I could say about those guys that they were so good to me, so it was a pretty awesome experience.
See, my director, Josh, he tells me all the time to be ready and come to rehearsal, but I never come to rehearsal. So it just doesn't happen. A lot of those programs, the Mayfields, the Cruces, Cueva, you know, they say that the tradition in those programs, you're almost reared and raised by those older players, right? Yeah, there's usually a pretty good coach in place. Obviously, in Mayfield's instance, there is, right? But they say it's really the old guys, the seniors, that just kind of keep everything in place, keep the tradition in place. Is that something that you experienced pretty early when you got to Mayfield?
Yeah, it was pretty different. Because I went to like the workouts when I was younger to Ruth Ruidoso. I was with all the older guys, and it wasn't like as mandatory. But I went to the Mayfield workouts, and there was constant leadership. Always guys, they expected greatness like from each other. They held each other accountable, and it was really different because if I wasn't doing something right, they weren't afraid to yell at me just because I was a freshman. So it was pretty different.
All right. So at the end of your freshman year, I mean, you look back at that. What went well? What didn't go well?
my freshman year of the football season went pretty well. Like, it went a lot better than I thought it would go. I thought I'd just be on the freshman team, but got to start all the games on JV. At the end of my freshman year, it was kind of tough because Torrey Laughlin, we found out he's moving to Rockdale, Texas, and everyone was looking towards me to be the quarterback, and they're like, "Oh, can he do it? Like, is he gonna like mentally ready?" And like we had like the football class, and it was just rough because like everyone was so hard on me. But I mean, I wouldn't change it for the world. I learned how to deal with certain situations, but that was probably the toughest part, dealing with Torrey moving, because it kind of just came out of nowhere.
Right. Sophomore year now, you're back at Mayfield in your sophomore year, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, so take us through that. I mean, now here are these expectations. Here are the keys to the car. Did you expect that right away? Or?
No, I didn't. I thought I'd be on JV my sophomore year because I thought Torrey was going to be there. But the summer went pretty well. Workouts went well. 7-on-7 went pretty well. And then we played Rio Rancho our first game, and I did pretty well. I think I went like 16 for 19 for like 200-something yards, but we lost. We were pretty young. And then that was kind of like the story for the rest of the season. We were just really young. Like we just made a lot of youth, all of injuries. Our best player, Chris Maryoun, I feel like he probably would have got some type of scholarship, but he broke his ankle the first play of the scrimmage. So that was pretty tough. And it kind of messed us up for the rest of the year. But it was just a tough year. I mean, I learned a lot. I think I played decent, but we only won 2 games. But I mean, I think it built a lot of hope for the future years because how much of my grade, the class of 2020, played. So
how tough is that as an individual, as the quarterback of the team? 2 wins in the season. I mean, how do you keep your guys positive and engaged? And obviously, at some point, you got to start leading the group. You're the quarterback. So how tough is that?
It was really tough. Like at Mayfield, we expected to be like a top 4 seed going to playoffs. So we didn't expect not only win 2 games. Right. We expected to win district, but it was tough. We kind of just used it in motivation as the off season. Coach Bradley, Coach Hull, they would remind us of it constantly throughout the workouts, and I think it motivated us. I mean, I wasn't there for the 2018 season, but I was much improved from what it was.
Now, did you start to hear some of that? Oh, the guy from Ruidoso can't get the job done here at Mayfield. Was there some pressure on you individually?
Yeah, it was pretty tough. Like they're like, I didn't obviously like live up to the expectations, but they also kind of said there was hope for the future because he's only a sophomore. Right. But it was just tough, like on all of us, because there's the story, like the history of the program so rich, like winning all the time, winning Budline, and Coach Bradley didn't really accept it. I know the other coaches accepted it, but I mean it really motivated us for the future years.
Right. And then so the next year you go back to Ruidoso, right?
Yes.
So obviously you have a family hardship that causes you to move back to Ruidoso. Do you want to share that with us?
Yes. It was it was like end of May, so like I was getting ready for like summer at Mayfield. I was expecting it. My grandfather passed away from cancer, and so my grandmother, who's she can't move around very well. I think she's 75 currently. She can't really take care of herself. So we had all my uncles, my father, my mother, all just said someone needs to move in with her because she didn't want to go into a home. And I was like, it's a good opportunity for me. I could go finish high school with my buddies and just take care of her and do what she needs me to do and finish high school.
So, I mean, being an adult hits you hard there, right? You're forced to make an adult-like decision going into your junior year because life happens, and life definitely happened there. And, I mean, do you ever look back at that and think about that?
Yeah, I think about it a lot. I mean, it's a tough situation, but it affected my entire family. But at the end of the day, I think it's made us all stronger. I've got closer with my mom. I appreciate her a lot more. I miss her. She's the best mom I could ever ask for. And my dad's actually showed like a lot more emotion towards me since like I've been away from him. And my little brother Gunnar, I think it's probably been the hardest on him. So, yeah, it's been hard, but I've definitely grown. I've matured. I feel like it's what God wanted to do because I wasn't very mature when I was my first 2 years, and I've definitely grown up.
All right. We'll pick it up back in Ruidoso for his junior year after this.
Folks, there's no other way but to be all in. Either he's Lord of all or he is not Lord at all. And you can experience the real and authentic, true life change that only God can provide to humanity. See, when we truly encounter Jesus and purpose to know him and follow his teachings, hashtag life change will occur.
Jackson Compaction wants to help you keep your green and keep the community green as well. Jackson Compaction has worked hard to maintain the same prices since day one. Always easy and painless trash removal with professional crews and quality service. If it's non-hazardous waste, debris, or trash on your land, leave it to us. At Jackson Compaction, we're dedicated to ensuring the conservation of our environment. You trash it, we smash it. Jackson Compaction, we've earned a reputation for great results.
The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. Responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide Coaches Award Program, and providing multiple professional development opportunities for New Mexico's coaches. Be a great coach by coaching beyond the game.
Locally loved restaurants like Farina Pizzeria, Farina Alto, and the Artichoke Cafe are the perfect venue for your next event. Farina Alto has traditional Italian food plus handcrafted cocktails in a beautiful Northeast Heights location. Farina Pizzeria with a downtown vibe, amazing affordable wines, and local beer. And the Artichoke Cafe has set the standard for casual fine dining since 1989. Visit our family of restaurants and see what fine dining is all about.
What is glamour? Frailty. What is desire? Diamonds. They say a life lived without passion is hardly worth living.
Ma'am? Ma'am? Ma'am?
Dang, this one made me feel all special.
All right, so now we get into your junior season and you're home. It's a homecoming. So obviously you have to be pretty excited.
Yeah, it was pretty exciting. A lot of build up for the season. I didn't get to play the first 2-3 games because me and my friend, one of my best friends, Michael, we were riding a 4-wheeler, and I hurt my back earlier my sophomore year at Mayfield towards the end of the season. Broke a bone in my back, but I was healing up. It was still kind of a little bothering me, and he fell on me when we were riding a 4-wheeler because we went up a hill and then we all fell down, and he fell on me, and it broke a bone and it just re-broke my back. So I just missed the 2 games, but.
For our city viewers, please explain 4-wheeling, because I went to school in Kentucky for a year, and I was the only one at the school not 4-wheeling at the time. So explain that.
Yeah, just dirt bike with 4 wheels, I guess.
Right. It is pretty much. I've known in small southern towns, right? That's pretty much what kids do, right, on their off time.
Yeah, that's what we did. Probably wasn't very smart. I mean, it hurt. But we probably the dumb part is we still go do it every once in a while. But yeah, I was just going up a hill. My mom's friend Deanie has 4-wheelers, and she has a whole bunch of property. So we were just out there 4-wheeling and then going up a hill, and then just fell on me and broke my back.
How was Coach with that when he heard that news that his quarterback's back in town, home, and then he pulls this 4-wheeling stunt? How was that?
He was actually more understanding because. He kind of knew it. It was bothering me a little bit, but it wasn't really affecting me at football practice or working out. It just kind of hurt me. So he kind of already knew it was kind of bothering me, but then him falling on me just made it worse. But I think at that time he was more worried about getting my NMA transfer approved. So
Right.
I think he was like, "Oh, it's all right. It's just focus on getting your thing, and then when you're ready, you'll have your spot. You'll work hard for it."
All right. So first varsity game in your hometown as a quarterback. When was that? Tell us about that.
It was homecoming against Tularosa. It was pretty.
Nerves going into that?
Yeah, I was pretty nervous because I always dreamed of playing at Horton Stadium. the bus ride. We always get to ride the bus from the high school to the game, like 5 minutes before the game. I was against Tularosa, and they're like, it's kind of pretty big rivalry for Ritos and Tularosa, but Ritos and Tule. But it didn't go like I didn't play great, but I didn't play awful. It was like 14-7, but it was like really everything I imagined. There was a lot of people there. It was just really I had a fun time, but I didn't play how I wanted to.
How did it compare to your time at Mayfield? Obviously, football Friday night in Las Cruces, it's a huge deal. I mean, I've been to the Field of Dreams. You go back to Ruidoso now. The community's a lot more spread out, right? Not everyone doesn't live off Sutterth and Meacham, right?
Yeah.
There's people up in the canyon. There's people in the Mescalero. So is there as many people that go to those games? I mean, how does it compare?
Yeah, there's actually a lot of people that, especially homecoming. Everyone comes to homecoming. But I think it's just kind of a different environment. In Las Cruces, it was different because you got to ride the bus to the game, and you got dressed at the high school. In Las Cruces, you had to show up to the field like at 4:45. But I think both communities are like really behind each program. I think there's probably a little bit more people in Las Cruces because it's a bigger school, and like Field of Dreams is right next to like the community of Mayfield, so there was a lot of people there every Friday night. And then Mayfield Cruces, of course, is huge.
So what's your development like throughout the rest of that year? I mean, where are you at as a quarterback? What are you doing well? What do you still need to improve?
I was throwing the ball well. I was still a bit stiff, like running the ball because my back, and they didn't really run me that much because they were like trying to be gentle with my back because we didn't really know how I was going to react. But I think that season I improved like every game because I was coming back slowly. We didn't finish the way we wanted to. We lost in the first round to Aztec, but we had a lot of like my class that was coming back, and I think we built like something special because we had a lot of adversity, a lot of injuries. Layson Powell, who's like all-state receiver, broke his arm against Levington, which was like pretty much like the district championship kind of, and he broke his arm going to tackle a guy. So it definitely hurt. A lot of injuries happened at the wrong time. So that's pretty much it.
So what's going through your mind? What junior to senior year transition? What's that summer like as far as your development as a player and a quarterback?
It was pretty much just trying to know the playbook. Just trying to understand. We're playing a lot more different concepts. Trying to know how I was going to work. A lot of new linemen, a lot of young guys, a lot of sophomores. We had to do a lot of 7-on-7s, and I got to call the plays. So it was more of development of my mental game and going to a lot of camps, just trying to get my name out there.
Senior year, obviously you're throwing it all over the place, right? I mean, you racked up some nice stats your senior year. Just talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, this season didn't go as planned, but we had probably the second toughest 4A schedule besides Levington because they played Hobbs 6A. Right. So we opened up with Roswell High. In our preseason, it was like Roswell High, Artesia, Alamogordo, Robertson. I think everyone we played in preseason was a playoff.
Those teams all made the playoffs, yeah.
Yeah, so,
So what's next as a quarterback, right? You have a pretty successful senior year, but now obviously you got to be looking at a place to play, right?
Yeah, right now it's either Nemi, Highlands, or Fort Lewis.
And what are those schools like about you?
I guess Highland just likes the way I improved from my junior to senior year. It was like a big jump, like especially stat-wise. I had like almost like doubled and tripled my stats.
When do you anticipate making that decision with your family?
Probably around next week.
Right. You have some visits planned, right?
Yes, sir.
I believe.
Nemi and then Fort Lewis on Nemi tomorrow, Fort Lewis on Saturday, and then I'm not too sure about Highlands because they're getting a new coach, so I'm not too sure how that's going to work out.
So what's going to ultimately go into that decision for you?
Probably just who gives me like the most money or like most scholarship money, because at the end of the day I'm just trying to get my degree, just trying to figure who's going to help me like accomplish that.
Right. Well, one of those places, Highlands, all their games air right here on Proview Networks.
Yeah.
So cool. I'll just throw that in there. But good luck with any of those three choices, and thank you for making the trip to Albuquerque.
Yes, thank you.
And that's all the time we have tonight.